Imagine being responsible for an entire nation. Imagine the weight of millions of hearts, eyes, and hopes resting on you, and yet, despite your power, your influence, and your authority, you cannot sleep. Because somewhere, someone, maybe a child, maybe a widow, maybe a stranger, is suffering. And you know, Allah will ask you about every soul under your care. There are nights when the world is quiet, when the streets hold stories no one sees, and when leadership isn't measured by crowns, armies, or applause, but by the weight a single man carries on his shoulders for the sake of Allah. And what I'm about to make you hear now is one of those nights, a night when one of the greatest men in Islamic history, the mighty Umar ibn Al-Khattab, the second caliph of Islam, walked the streets of Medina, not as a ruler, not as a commander, but as a servant of the people. A night that teaches the world what true responsibility looks like. A night that teaches us that greatness is not found in power, but in compassion, humility, and fear of standing before Allah on the Day of Judgment. This is the story of Umar ibn Al-Khattab, a man known for strength, justice, and fearlessness, but also for a heart that trembled for his people, for a leader who could not ignore the cries of the weak. Today you will walk with him through the streets of Medina. You will feel his steps, hear his heartbeat, and learn what it truly means to lead with the fear of Allah, the mercy of a believer, and the courage of a servant of Allah. The city of Medina was asleep under the crescent moon. Stars scattered across the sky like diamonds, and the soft desert breeze whispered through palm trees. People slept in peace because they trusted one man to protect them, a man who feared Allah more than he feared any enemy, a man whose heart was restless at night because he feared being questioned by Allah for those under his care. That man was Umar ibn Al-Khattab, R.A. Umar couldn't sleep. Umar ibn Al-Khattab walked through the dark streets, his sandals brushing against the earth. The city was silent. The air was calm, but Umar's heart was restless. Why? Because he feared that somewhere in this ummah, someone might be hungry, someone might be in pain, someone might feel forgotten. And Umar believed deeply, fiercely, that a leader is responsible for every soul under his care. You see, greatness is not always in the crowd. It is often found in quiet footsteps, in sleepless nights, in unseen acts done solely for the pleasure of Allah. He feared Allah more than he feared any enemy. He feared judgment more than he feared rebellion. And he could not bear the thought that a single person in Medina, anyone at all, might suffer while he slept in comfort. As Umar walked through the sleeping city, he stopped often listening. He listened for footsteps, for whispers, for tears. He visited the outskirts. He checked on widows, orphans, travelers, and the strangers. He knew the Quran's warning and stopped them, for they will be questioned. And he feared the moment Allah would ask him, Umar, did you look after my servants? In the silence of the night, Umar noticed a faint sound, a muffled sob, children crying. He paused, his heart tightened. He followed the sound. It came from a small, worn-out house built of mud bricks. The kind of home people don't notice, the kind the world forgets. Umar stepped closer. Inside, he heard the voices of little children, weak, weary, hungry, and a mother trying her best to calm them. Their mother was boiling stones in a pot to make them think food was cooking. Umar's voice softened. He knocked gently. Assalamu alaikum, Umar said. The mother jumped, startled, her eyes wide with fear, her lips trembling. She opened the door slightly. She didn't recognize him. Wa alaykumus salam, she replied. Her eyes were tired, her clothes worn, She did not know she was speaking to Umar, the Caliph of the Muslims, the governor. Behind her, 3 small children lay on the floor crying. Umar's voice softened. He asked, "What is the matter with your children?" The woman hesitated. Then she spoke with pain that she could no longer hide. "They are hungry," she said simply. Umar's chest tightened. The simplicity of her words, the depth of their suffering, cut through him like a sword. He asked softly, "Why are they hungry? Why haven't you asked for help? Why not go to the leader of the Muslims?" The woman lowered her gaze. She didn't know she was speaking to the leader of the Muslims. She said with a trembling voice, "Because the Amir al-Mu'minin Umar has forgotten us." Those words pierced Umar's heart like a spear. Forgotten by the Caliph himself, by the man responsible for the entire Ummah. You see, great leaders tremble before Allah, not before kings or armies. True greatness is measured in the heart, not in the crown. Umar felt the breath leave his body, but he kept his voice steady. "What are you cooking?" he asked. A pot was boiling on the fire, steam rising from it. The woman looked away. "Just water," she whispered, "to make the children think food is coming, so they will fall asleep." Umar felt his knees weaken. The great warrior of Islam, the protector of Medina, the man whose name made empires tremble. He stood there, feeling utterly broken. He asked gently, "What do you expect from Umar?" She answered, "Allah will judge him between us." Umar almost couldn't breathe. He whispered to himself, "Woe to you, Umar. How many people you have left in need." Umar stepped back from the door. He did not hesitate. He did not allow despair to linger in their home. He turned and ran. He ran through the dark streets of Medina. His cloak flew behind him. His sandals slapped the earth. He didn't stop to catch his breath. This caliph, this giant of Islam, this man who led armies and conquered nations, was running through the night for a poor mother and her hungry children. He reached the Baytul Mal, the treasury. The guards were surprised. Amr al-Mu'minin, they called him. He did not answer. He entered, grabbed a large sack of flour, another sack of dates, a container of fat, and whatever else he could carry. His maid Aslam rushed forward. "Let me carry it, Amir." "No," Umar said with quiet intensity. "Will you carry my sins, my burdens on the day of judgment?" Aslam lowered his head. He understood. Umar lifted the heavy sack himself onto his back. Every step back toward the house was an act of devotion, an act of fear, an act of love. Because on the day when there is no shade but Allah's shade, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of judgment, he didn't want to stand before Allah as a ruler who ignored the hungry, as the ruler who ignored his people, as the ruler who does care what the people say. Sometimes the heaviest burdens are not physical, they are moral, spiritual, and emotional. The weight of responsibility, when carried for Allah's sake, purifies the heart. It transforms fear into mercy, duty into devotion, and leadership into service. When Umar returned to the small home, he did not announce himself. He did not demand recognition. When he reached the door, the woman didn't yet realize who he was. He greeted her. Then immediately, without speaking, he knelt beside her small fire. He poured the flour, stirred the pot, prepared the meal. Imagine it, the ruler of the Muslim world, sitting on the dirt floor of a poor home, cooking food for hungry children, sweat on his brow, smoke curling around his beard. The fire smoke stung his eyes. The flames burned his arms. The heat reddened his face, but he kept blowing on the fire. When the food was done, Umar gently served the children. He watched them eat, watched them smile, watched their little faces change from pain to joy. And he didn't leave. He stayed until their laughter filled the room. He sat there quietly, thanking Allah, tears in his eyes. After a long time, the mother said, "May Allah reward you. You are far better than Umar." Umar looked down. He whispered, "I am Umar." The woman gasped. Fear washed over her face, but Umar quickly reassured her, "There is no blame upon you. You spoke the truth." Umar must be held accountable. He stood, thanked her, made dua for her and her children, and slipped back into the night. The greatest act of leadership is invisible. It is in the quiet moments, unseen by the world, yet weighed heavily in the scales of Allah. A leader's true victory is not in wealth, status, or titles, but in the relief of a single suffering soul. The next day, people saw Umar in the masjid, calm, composed, majestic. No one knew that the caliph who ruled the world spent the night cooking for hungry children. Because Umar didn't seek praise. He didn't want recognition. He did it because he feared Allah. He did it because his heart was soft. He did it because leadership in Islam is not a throne, it is servanthood. And because every weak person of this ummah is a responsibility before Allah. The reward of serving others is not in applause, it is in the silence of your conscience, the purity of your intentions, and the knowledge that Allah watches and Allah rewards. No act of mercy, no moment of kindness, no effort to lift another soul ever goes unseen. This was more than a story. It was a mirror for anyone who holds a responsibility, whether as a parent, a teacher, a leader, or simply a Muslim living among Muslims. Umar teaches us: 1. Leadership is not power or privilege. It is accountability and responsibility. 2. Greatness is hidden in small deeds done with sincerity. 3. True greatness is measured by how much your heart aches for the weak. 4. And sometimes the smallest acts of mercy carry the heaviest weight in the sight of Allah. But perhaps the most powerful lesson is this: you don't need a title to be a leader. You don't need authority. You don't need wealth. You just need a heart that cares, and feet willing to walk in the night for someone who needs help. If Umar, ruler of the Muslim world, could feed hungry children with his own hands, what excuse do we have? Maybe there is someone near you who is suffering. Maybe they are hungry, lost or forgotten. Maybe they are crying silently, boiling stones to hide their hunger, much like those children. Allah placed you there for a reason. The true leader is the one who fears Allah more than people. The true leader is the one who cannot sleep while others suffer. The true leader is the one who walks alone in the night for the sake of mercy. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest act you will ever do, the one that saves you on the day of judgment, will not be 1,000 prayers, but one small step of compassion, taken quietly, humbly, sincerely, for Allah alone. So, rise now, look around, see the quiet suffering that no one else sees, and take your steps, because Allah sees, Allah rewards, and your soul will rest in peace, knowing you have served His creation with a heart that feared Him.